adversity to be great. Say hello to my wife. I'm having what's known as a wardrobe malfunction. She is cutting my hair. This has been a dream of hers.
You can endear me to your millions of viewers.
To humiliate me on the air.
I always cry even though it isn't allowed. So proud.
You make me want to be a better screamer.
A better screamer.
No, definitely not that. Do you need adversity to be great?
Your skill is you tee up your guests and you make them look, so good.
Yeah. Oh, such a good question. Gets me all fired up, man. Such a good interviewer. I'm ready to go. Jump to the screen. But no, so true.
They can't see I'm dancing by myself.
And despite the best ministrations of your wife, you still look ugly.
Well, the sign says, let's go. Michael Rosen says, here we go. Michael Donnelly says, the suspense is killing me. That countdown clock does what it needs to do. While I've basically gone to the toilet, I've brushed my teeth, I've put gel in my hair, I've changed my shirt. Ned Newhouse says, John Durham knows his red wines as well as being a legend. There is no doubt about both of those points. And there is no doubt, according to Joey Dumont, that John Durham is the professor, or as I call him, professore. So who is this John Durham? Well, you know what? You're going to have to wait a little bit longer to have him on the show, because we're having a party today. Or maybe, let me be a little bit more specific. Wait, he just left the room. I can't show what I'm about to show until he comes back, because I'm going to piss him off. It's CoronaCocktails today. So that's why I'm in the wine cellar. We are drinking today. John, I was just saying that we're having a party today. Or more importantly, let me tell you who's having a party. Jamie Vardy is having a party. I couldn't resist. I was watching the score between Arsenal and Leicester, and I was going, come on, Leicester, let me rain on his parade. I'm a vindictive Spurs son of a bitch, so what can I do? On John Durham's birthday, it's his birthday today, and look at what I'm doing. What a mean mofo I am. But let me tell you, he is an Arsenal fan. He is a friend of mine. I regard him as a mentor. I regard him as family. He's a professor at USF. I mean, can you imagine how lucky you have to be to have this man as your professor? And he's the CEO of Catalyst SF. David Libby says, happy birthday, John. Yeah, we're all going to be able to celebrate his birthday with him today. It's going to be awesome. Wait a second. Hold on. Maybe I got the wrong guest. I got the wrong guest. I was meant to have that John Durham. I keep on getting them confused. I've been just playing with the other John Durham, I think, all week. No, I've got the real John Durham. Today is Take Your Daughter for a Walk Day. I took my daughter for a walk. I think we actually lasted about 3 steps because it was raining, but I did actually physically go with my daughter for a walk. I hope you had an opportunity to do that with your daughter as well. Again, and as always, thank you guys for being a part of the show. I thank you every single episode, and I mean it, and it means a lot to me. Happy birthday to my Facebook friends, including, of course, Mr. John Durham. I think I might have to wish him personally, and of course to all my contacts on LinkedIn. Happy birthday, guys. A little bit of an update. Yesterday I had Bruce Turkel. What an amazing conversation I had with him. And he was not exactly too complimentary of the Chickendales, the KFC Chickendales. Well, serves me right for actually showing this, because now I have copyright infringement. Such an amazing piece of content from the plantation-loving Colonel that now I cannot monetize the show. How ironic that I got stuck with a copyright infringement when I was trying to actually promote the brand. But you know what? Easy come, easy go. Here's something else that happened to me. I am now on Thrills, which is the UK's version of Cameo. I mean, for £10, what a steal. For £10, you get a shout out from me to you. And I might even give you a shout out on the show. And for £15, £15, that is a lot of money to part with. You get a performance. Maybe this is a performance, a little 2 or 3 minute little mini keynote. So go to Thrills and find me. You know, I'm one of the newest additions. Can you believe it? That I am now considered to be talent. I am a legend in my own mind. That's actually what my mother always has told me. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I'll supply the link. I would love to see the first person that actually buys a Thrills from me. Think about how much fun you will have at my expense. In fact, I'm pretty sure right now, let me just see. Looks like John right now is actually signing on to Thrills to make me have to say how much I love Arsenal. That's what I would do if I was you, John. For £10, it's going to be worth like £1,000 when you get your revenge for what I'm doing to you today. Well, you know, there is a little bit of, I wouldn't say there's not going to be too much seriousness, because it is, at the end of the day, our, you know, Corona cocktails. But when I think about friendship, and I think about quality time, and I think about John, and I think about the moments that we have together, I think also in this COVID-enabled time about this idea about savoring life, and about, you know, how life is short. I mean, what the hell, by the way, does that even mean? Life is short. According to Alexander Hamilton, or at least Lin-Manuel Miranda, who played him on Broadway, hopefully you guys watched that on Disney+, he never expected to live past 20. And most people where he came from made it to half that. Our life expectancy is actually increasing. And our children's, or their children's generation, apparently, should be making it easily to the triple digits with increasing ease. So shouldn't we say life's getting longer, or life's less short than it used to be? I suppose when we do the math, 100 as a percentage of thousands to millions of years, depending on your position of creationism versus evolution, is still minuscule to infinitesimal, respectively. So we're actually back to life is really, really short. So now what? What happens now? What happens next? Well, how about we make the most of it? How about savoring moments like I am right now, and I am today, with one of my favorite people in the world, John Durham, the other one. How about rejecting the saying, no one ever said on their deathbed, I should have spent more time in the office. Yes, I said reject. Because if you ever spend 1 second in the office that was miserable, that was 1 second too many, in my opinion. Life is short, but quality of life is even shorter. Maybe we should be focusing on extending the quality to quantity relationship ratio, as opposed to paying lip service to a cliche that seems to mock our enslaving routines versus liberate us from them. And so the next time you're in a moment, not having a moment, but in a moment, close your eyes, take it in, attempt to take a mental photograph of the moment with every single sight, sound, taste, touch, or smell, so you can freeze it in time, immortalize it, keep it with you always. In a life that's already too short, the choice is yours, whether you want your highlight reel to be fleeting and short-lived, or an expanding greatest hits album that gets better with age, just like a good wine, and just like my next guest, my guest, the one, the only, the Professor, John Durham. John, welcome to the show. And
Joe, how are you?
Happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Cheers to you. Cheers. 6 o'clock back there.
It is 6 o'clock somewhere.
Somewhere.
This is my signature gin martini. I mean, is there any other kind of martini?
Well, I'm having a little bit of champagne and Aprisol, and I'm going to switch to Monkey 47 and some blue cheese olives a little bit later.
Nice. Well, my olives are inside my my drink, my martini, and I might have to actually just dip, downstairs at some point. I'll let you occupy people out there. Now, there are a lot of people that are happy to wish you a happy birthday. I don't know if I showed David before.
Hi, David. How are you? Hello, my friend. Jason.
I'll let you respond to everyone. Jason said happy birthday, and Celia is here. Celia Lang.
Celia. Good to see you.
Adam.
Adam. Cheers.
And
I heard you mention Michael. There he is right there. The man, the myth. He's a new book coming out, I think in September, right? Or October?
Wait. Joey has a new book?
Yeah, Joey can write. I can't wait to read it. I went on Amazon. I can't wait to get it. Hello, how are you, sir?
Wow, look at this. Kevin McGurn.
Oh, my God. It must be a slow day in L.A. A slow day. Hello,
and I don't know if Michael Rosen again, and I mean, look at this. This is a love fest.
How are you?
Wait, I showed Kevin. Carol Walker.
Hello, Carol. God, this is unreal. Hey, it's 3 o'clock here. I'm in a hello, Neil. Oh my gosh, you truly must have nothing to do in Napa. So,
you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drink and show people's birthday greetings. Look, there's even more.
I know what he's doing. He's sitting on that rooftop trying to sell a big deal. John, hello, John.
John Vale. Now there is a blast from the past. I haven't. And Derek Hewitt.
Derek, hello, sir. How are you? I'll respond to your emails after this. I tell you what, South Africa wine, Merlust, Rubicon, for $25 is one of the best buys you can do. You can get it. One of the best shops, wine stores, is on 3rd and 47th in Manhattan, and they have incredible South African wine.
It's so funny because I actually have a bottle of Merlust Rubicon downstairs. I was going to open up the bottle and actually drink that. And then when you said you were going for a G&T, I switched to a martini. But we have a Zoom after show. And for those of you that want to join us, we're going to be celebrating John in the Zoom after show as well. But before we do, a couple more greetings. We've got Rich over there, Rich Lafergie and Nick Johnson.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Nick, this is for you. Don't check in, check out. Now, Nick was actually meant to be on the show on Friday, but he ditched me. He had something better to do, I guess. So he's going to be rebooking. Did Gary Strauss?
Hello, Gary. Hello, my friend. Good to see you. Happy post-4th. Kelly.
Kelly, and look at this one.
There's no way I will ever drink scotch, Westlake. You know better. I don't do stuff like that. I don't drink scotch. Hello, Adam. How are you, sir?
So,
I know.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know who it was.
Oh, I knew who it was. All you got to do is say Scotch and Gear Brain, and he's on. He's on. I think Nick is. I don't know if Nick is booing me that I said that he ditched me, or that he's railing against Scotch. He's booing you.
So
Steve Scott is showing Jamie Vardy, who by the way is a good player. I'll give you that.
It's about to get worse, because let me tell you something about your team, Arsenal. So first of all, for those of you that are wondering who this good-looking gentleman is. Well, it's me, obviously. I'm the host of the show. But this is John Durham. He is the CEO of Catalyst. He'll tell you about that maybe at some point. He's the professore at USF. He's a friend of mine, and he's a loser. Sorry, that's a typo. He's an ardent gunner. So, John, let me tell you something. You Arsenal supporters, you guys are so lucky in this post-COVID or in this COVID era, because every single team has to play now in an empty stadium. And for you guys, I think they just call that match day. So, I mean, it's totally unfair. This is what a match day looks like at the library at Emirates. You see, look how awful I am, how I'm just teasing you. What Arsenal's on top? Oh, wait, it's just in alphabetical order. Or, I mean, too soon? Robin Van Persie.
Wow. You're just really digging him up. Fortunately, it's only 3 o'clock, but I'm okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop. I'm just teasing you. But you know, John, we are. My soliloquy was all about life is short, but really it's about celebrating life, and we're celebrating you, and we're celebrating your life today. And you know, and I think it's these moments, as I said, not having a moment, but in a moment. We're in a moment right now. And for those of you that don't know John, first of all, I want to go back to, do you remember when we met the first time?
We met at an iMedia many years ago. I want to say it was in Colorado Springs. I know it was an iMedia, but I think it was Colorado Springs. Or no, it was
Park City.
Park City, yes, Park City, Utah.
It was Park City, and we went to this conference called iMedia, and there was one panel. You know, we were the rose amongst the thorns. There was only one panel on creative, and there were 4 people on the panel. There was myself, there was John, there was Scott Witt, and Arthur Chan. And I remember we became like a brotherhood. We became like a little family, trying in vain, by the way, losing battle to advocate in favor of creativity in this sea and cacophony of media impressions, click-throughs, and analytics. But that's how we met.
But we didn't even know the word analytics existed back then. It was just some kind of ways to justify budgets.
And I'm sure many of us are probably wishing that it didn't exist today when we become slave to it as well. Nick says, do you remember Park City, Joseph? Foosball and dance floor shenanigans. Yeah. I've tried to forget. That's all I'm trying to say. There were things that I saw that I cannot unsee.
Good memories.
Really, really great memories. And I would be remiss if I didn't sneak in a greeting for Mr. Dave Smith for you as well.
Beard. Look at that esteemed beard, that young man with the beard. Wow.
Well, I shaved mine because I realized that no matter even 3 months of a global pandemic, I still look like an idiot. So I'm back. I'm back to this boyish charm. But John, let's take a moment and maybe just, you know, get a little serious for just a brief moment, because you've always been a man that has savored friendships and good wine and life, and then your life changed. And I wonder if you wouldn't mind taking a brief moment to talk a little bit about that experience and how it changed your life.
Well, I would never talk about it for a long time because I didn't want to acknowledge it. But I wasn't feeling good, and I couldn't keep food down. I couldn't keep drink. I lost smell. And I went to my doctor and kept going to him, and he couldn't figure it out. And then one day he did. And he said the dreaded C word. And he sent me to, and it's a word you never want to hear. I'll never forget when he looked at me in the eye and said, "You have cancer, and we're going to beat it. You just got to trust me." I'm an ad guy. I believe in, I'm an optimist in life. And I'll never forget that moment. And he goes, "I'm going to send you to one of the world's greatest people, and he and I are going to figure out a treatment." And he did. He sent me to the most impersonal clinic in La Jolla. It was a factory, but this doctor was one of the top 3 specialists in the world. And he comes in with a retinue of like 10 assistants, didn't look at me, spent these minutes telling all of his assistants what to do. And I finally said, "Look, I'm paying a lot of money. Look at me, tell me." And he goes, "You'll live. What else you want to know?" It's just a rude prick. But I'll never forget. And then I fly back and I talked to my doctor, and he goes, "Yeah, he was a little upset that you actually talked to him." And he was royalty. But I did what they said do, and I am celebrating years cancer-free. I couldn't say it for a long time. People would look at me and say, "Hey, are you okay?" And I'm down to 137 pounds. And I would like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm great." And then finally, Joe, one day I was in Starbucks getting some hot tea, and I ran across somebody that I haven't seen in about a year. And she goes, "Oh my God, you look like death." And she said it loud enough, and everybody in Starbucks, and I was so self-conscious. And I mentioned to, and you know him very well, Corey, what had happened. And Corey goes, "Well, my God, everybody knows you're sick. You're the only one that won't tell anybody. You're the only one that won't deal with it." And it was painful. I had to walk with the cane. I honestly didn't think that I would get through it. And then one day, there was this priest at USF who I get to play cards with occasionally. And I honestly didn't even know if I would see that night. And I called him in and said, "I really need to talk to you." And he said, "Well, I have to do Mass." He said, "I'll be over after Mass." And I said, "Okay." Literally within 3 or 4 minutes, someone's at my door. I live right near the campus. And it's him. And he goes, "I heard it in your voice." And we sat at the foot of my stairs. And he just kept talking about joy, and the joy of life, and the joy of friendship, and good wine, and just take every moment and say the word joy. When you get up, joy, joy, joy. When you go to bed, joy, joy, joy. And it was so stupid, but I did it. I don't know if I felt better physically, but I got out a little better spring, and I started feeling mentally better. And then, I did everything that they said do. I had lost smell and get it back. But I kept that perspective of joy. And I got to tell you, that has just kept me going. I like what I do. I love this business. I enjoy the people that I work with. I respect the people. I respect the industry. And just when I think that it can't get any worse, I am reminded of sitting at those stairs, not knowing if I would see that next hour. It can't get any worse. COVID has been a real eye-opener because it has brought every emotion that we've had to deal with. And the one thing is I have no immune system. Chemo just, you have none of that left. And so you're subject to being, of age, of symptoms, allergies in San Francisco. This has been a really horrible spring. But I tell you what, I just persevered. I check temperature every day, and I'm just convinced I have seen the bottom. And there is nothing that could happen to me at this point. So I have that. That's my attitude. That's the way I feel.
You speak about joy, right? And joy, joy, joy. And I'll tell you what brings me joy. What brings me joy is you, and what you have not just brought to my life, but to everyone around in this community, in this family of ours. I describe, it's weird, I describe two people as my mentors. One is Rashad Tabakawala, and two is you. And
he is so good.
And I haven't had as much time with either of you as I ever would have wanted. But they're just both you and he, and specifically you. You just inspire me, and you make me and have always made me feel safe. And validated and confident professionally. This is a weird, our industry can sometimes be a tough one with respect to a lot of hubris and arrogance and a lot of alpha male posturing. But whenever you were near, I always felt very, very safe. And maybe it's because my dad died, when I was 4. And that truly you've been a bit of a, I don't want to make you feel old, John, but a bit of a father figure to me. And by the way, you finished that really quickly. You better go get the second one. See, that's how I didn't want to make it, but I really just wanted to I know there are people watching right now, but in many respects, you might be at home and you might not be able to get out there as much as you'd want to. By the way, there's not much out there to see. But what's in here right now is pretty important to
All
me.
your books are, you wrote one of my favorite books, Life Beyond the 30-Second Spot. All your books are in my my home library. This is the special library. I have 3. So you're in that hallowed because your books are good. You do a lot to get us to think. Thank you. That's very nice. I'm not good at taking compliments. I'd rather talk about something else.
So I want to ask you a question. As Joey says, we love you, John, and we do. And TD just arrived.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but your apologies accepted because he just gave a little shout out to flip the funnel. Maybe we can use that funnel to drink beer later. But John, what brings you joy? You spoke about joy. I don't want to state. I mean, I don't want to answer the question for you, but what actually brings you joy?
Well, I love good conversations. I'm a political animal, so I don't know if I like the political discourse going on in our country right now, but I like politics. I love sport. I love photography. I'm in awe of the men and women who are creative. I like what I do for a living. I definitely enjoy teaching. That's been a lot of fun for many years, and to see great students in places of business around the world. I'm a big champagne freak. When God says, you got 6 months to live, what are you going to do? Just give me an American Express card, put me on a United flight to London, take the train over to Paris, the train out to Reims, and go sit in the cellars at Krug and drink all day. That would be the nicest way. Have dinner at La Crête, and what a way to go out.
Well, I don't think we have. I think we can go out there. I don't think we have to go out. Period. But maybe we should. Maybe the next iMedia reunion shouldn't be in New Orleans because look at what we did there. We destroyed the place so much that there was a huge pandemic that followed. Maybe we should go to Rennes and enjoy some good champagne. My mother, by the way, would approve because she loves, Dom Perignon is basically like her minimum bar. So, you get on.
Said, when you're going to drink champagne, it's the best of drinks. It's the worst of drinks. It's the best of times. It's the worst of times. If you're happy, drink champagne. If you're sad, drink champagne. If you're pissed off, drink champagne. If you're celebrating, drink champagne. She's absolutely right.
I mean, that's the takeaway, or period. Drop the mic. Now, John, if you've watched the show, and you would know that I always find a quote, and generally it's an obscure quote, or as Bruce said yesterday in the show, he said most quotes are attributable to either Mark Twain or Oscar Wilde. This is neither Twain nor Wilde. But it's very obscure, and I wonder if you would be able to guess it. So here is the quote: "Never be afraid to try something new. Remember, amateurs built the Ark, professionals built the Titanic." So do you know who actually said that? And remember, I'm sadistic.
No, I don't. I know it wasn't Twain because obviously I think he passed away around that time. I don't know. I know the quote very well. I think it's a good one. I don't know.
So I'm going to give you a clue just because I'm going to continue to be a sadist. Tom thinks Worrell. Close. The person who said this is as visionary, forward-thinking, and inspirational as maybe Worrell. But I'm going to give you a clue. The clue is number 112. Sorry, number 122. Number 122.
Desmond Tutu?
No, but you're getting. But there have been many quotes from this person. This is number 122, and I think the most recent one, this probably is going to give it away, I think was 2,527. That was just posted to Facebook. Carol Walker might have just cracked the code. That, my friend, is what's known as a Durham. That was you, my friend, 122, all the way back when. John Durham, the creator.
South Africa at the World Cup. That happened right after the World Cup.
And I didn't realize that we were in South Africa together. Did you know that? I mean, like, I was at the World Cup too.
I know. I was in Cape Town for like 3 weeks. It was a wonderful experience. Saw the UK win and tie, and went out to Stellenbosch and Franschhoek and had a great time. I love it. I love Western South Africa. I think it's one of the most beautiful places on earth. It's a pain in the arse to get to from here.
Oh, and at the moment it's impossible to get there. So John, you said this was number 122.
I don't remember.
But well, I mean, it was a long time ago. That's why I had to, like, you know, I did a lot of digging. But let's go back and tell people a little bit about what a Durham is and when and why it started, why you started it.
My group that I was in, that I've gone to several World Cups with, we were up in Stellenbosch, actually at Merlust, and we were sitting around, and I had made a comment about something had come up, and I had commented on something that my grandfather had once told me, that if you're going to burn a bridge, torch the language, which MF, but he didn't use those words. And he goes, he said, you know, you don't want to go through life burning bridges, but when you do, they're going to burn. And somebody says, oh, you ought to say that. And there's a couple more. And, you know, you just start, next thing you know, you start writing them down. And I started writing them down. And then, you know, I would do one every Monday through Friday. And then just one thing led to another. And I just started, some quotes I would find, some things that I would think about, and I would just write down. And then at some point they would become something that was on my mind.
Well, I mean, Tom really put it perfectly. He said some really sage advice over the years. I've got a few to share, and maybe if you would just comment on them and talk a little bit about them, provide some context. This is, I tried to find some round numbers. This was number 100. People spend a lifetime searching for happiness, looking for peace. They chase idle dreams, addictions, religions, even other people, hoping to fill the emptiness that plagues them. The irony is the only place they ever needed to search was within.
This came from a conversation that I had with my priest. When I got back, we were playing cards, and somebody said, you know, what is happiness? And we just started talking about, you know, that people are all the time chasing happiness. And it was reminding me of the great Stephen Crane. I saw a man pursuing the horizon, round and round they sped. I accosted the man. It is futile, I said. You lie, he cried, and ran on. And I just thought, you know what, in a way, that's sort of true. Just like we all chase, we all have addictions. History is about addictions and how man and woman manifest those addictions in life. So that was the origins of that.
All right, so I have, Mr. Derek Hewitt asks this question, and I know it's a question you've been asked before. When is the book coming out?
Brad Behrens is because he keeps telling me, he's hooked me up with somebody. I keep saying I'm going to do it. You know, it just hasn't been the time, but it's really interesting because, you know, all you got now is time, because we've lost any sense of time. I mean, you're eating Raisin Bran at 10 p.m. You're eating lunch at 6 a.m. So, you know, I guess I'll consciously think about it on day 6 of a week.
All right. So now I went from, and I actually looked for number 1. Do you remember what number 1? Number 1 was the bridges, right?
No,
if you're going to burn the bridge.
Something. I can look it up. I've got it somewhere.
Let's call that number 1. We saw number 100. This is number 1000,
this is my mantra. I had this blown up. This is my personal philosophy in life. You got to have more smiles than frowns, more yeses than nos, more joy than sorrow, more fun than not, more hope, more success. That is my manifesto. The meaning of life is to find your gift, and the purpose is to give it away. That was 1,000, 2,000. It'll be 3,000. I have it a little blown up. Somebody gave it to me. I don't know what that word crochet.
Well, Carol has an idea. She said, let's create a favorite Durham's book. It's like Durhamism's books. This is what happens when you start drinking martinis, and auction the original for charity.
That would be it. That would be it. That number one, that one, I think 100, and there's a couple more that are very special. They come out of very personal experiences.
Seth Sparks is here, and he said he loves number 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and I hope 10,000. I'll have you back on the show so we can do 100, 1,000, and 10,000. And then David says, I guess he's saying, tell him to tell the story of why he published each one. Does that?
Well, one time Greenwald was asking me, how do you come up with them, and how do they fit the day? I mean, I have a book somewhere in here that I just write things down, and I put them against certain feelings: food, wine, happiness, success, just certain kinds of topics. And then something has happened in a 24 or 48 hour period that causes me to sort of reflect on that. Like, today is age, and it's one that I've thought a lot about, because you want to age gracefully. You don't want to spend your downhill years in life in regrets. You want to enjoy life, because you just don't know. And I think right now life is so precious. We're all discovering, the video communications. We're all coming into people's houses, into their personal lives, which I think is fantastic. We're all discovering the value of what matters. I never thought I would be doing laundry at 11 o'clock. I've done my dishwasher probably more in 4 months than I've ever done it. I spent 20 minutes in the grocery store looking for the right dishwashing detergent. I learned a lot of things during this time period.
John, I'm going to go to one more, which was published just, I think, a couple days ago, maybe, and it's your most recent one, number 2005. In fact, it was published today.
Yeah,
2000.
The last line: "A man is not old until regrets take the place of dreams." That's yes.
So I'm going to read the full one. "The mind of man, his brain and nerves, are a truer index of his age than the calendar. If you would keep young, be cheerful, keep working, and love one another. A man is not old until regrets take the place of dreams." So do you have any regrets?
I spend absolutely no time. I think, regrets is what an incredible waste of energy. Because number one, the shoulda, coulda, woulda game. Why do you want to play it? You only get yourself stressed out. Sure. I wonder sometimes, did I make the right choices? What if? But I didn't. I don't spend time thinking about it. It's just not worth it. It's just, honestly, you get yourself, because you can't change it. And I know people who go back and they do, and they think about, well, I could do this. I'm a big fan of history, and I don't really read a lot of fiction, but there's just a couple of people that I read, one of which is Thomas Wolfe, and his novel, You Can't Go Home Again, is so true. You can't go home. At some point, you can't.
It's weird. It's almost like it juxtaposes or dovetails really beautifully with the idea of torching the mofo. This idea of sometimes leaving home behind and moving forward, and sometimes actually purposefully saying it's time to move forward. I'll tell you just on a personal note, my son had his bar mitzvah last week, and we spoke about transitions and you know and I know you're a religious man and I am too, and we spoke about how in his actual Torah portion, Moses strikes the rock instead of talking to the rock. God says to him, "You cannot enter the land." And I basically spoke to my son about leadership, and I said, what if he wasn't punished at all? What if, as a leader, his time was up? It was time to pass the torch. It was time for a new leader to emerge. He'd gone as far as he could have. And I think when I think about you, how many, you see, the thing with you is you're not done. You've proven to us that you're not done. You're still teaching and inspiring. And I think that's why I call you professore. You're the professor. And the fact that I just love whenever you say my students, whenever you talk about teaching, that's what's important, is your ability to pass on the advice, the wisdom, the knowledge, inspire the next generation. And I think that's how we kind of, you know, to me, it reconciles everything. This idea of you have to sometimes leave, even your students, they have to leave the comfort of their home behind and they have to move on, but they have teachers and mentors and gurus and Sherpas and you know, teacher my teacher in the form of you, John.
I appreciate it. I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. I've had incredible people, been very lucky. A lot of them have come to work in different places in the business. Makes you feel really proud when you see they get their stripes, their titles, they go somewhere. Thank you, David, for that comment earlier.
This one?
It's a lot of fun. I mean, you know, it's also been very good for, you know, a lot of people in the Bay Area because they get to come in and see incredible talent, and the students are inspired by the people that come into the class, and they get, you know, I believe in letting them be themselves. I think this is a great business. I never apologize for saying I'm a marketer, because I think if it were not for us, there'd be nobody else doing anything. We're the ones that generate revenue. We're the ones that make things happen. So I get fired up about what we do.
Well, I want to spend the last portion of our little intimate chat in the wine cellar over here talking about marketing. And by the way, I also just want to point out one thing, which is we did my son's bar mitzvah on Zoom, and we were all in suits and you know, and we all dressed up. As you are now. And I mean, I don't know if you dressed up for a reason but just, you know, seeing you in a tie, I made a conscious decision, which is as long as I'm in quarantine or sheltering in place, part of the brand of Corona TV would be that I would be wearing a t-shirt, or I wouldn't be apologizing for, you know, wearing maybe a suit and then no pants. But as soon as we're out of this, I'm going back to dressing up. And I think one of the things that I heard, one of the compliments we received was, you dressed up for something that was on a Zoom. You got to show up. That's 50% of the battle. The other 50% is you got to dress up. You got to dress to impress.
Well, this is my feeling. I get a lot of grief because I'm a sweater guy. I like sweaters. I like calf sweaters. I like buying from a store in London called Cordings. They have these little sweater vests. And they make you feel very, I don't know, they make me feel good. I wore them before. I would wear them a couple of days during the week. A couple of times I would wear ties. I view that when I get up, yes, Tom, I'm wearing my gray flannel pants. I view that I'm at work, whether I'm sitting here in my home office or I'm downstairs in my cellar or in my living room, I'm at work. And I think it's a work environment. Now today, I went down to the office in the financial district because I had to meet the landlord to talk about the plan I had submitted for us going back into our office. So I went back downtown, which is like Armageddon. And I dressed up, and I would have done this. I do it 1 or 2 days a week. I get comments from my clients. This is just very natural for me. What you didn't get was you didn't get the pink or the weird color sweaters I had. You got blue. You got red, white, and blue today.
Well, I mean, it's very patriotic of you. We didn't even get into politics, and we won't. But the pink or magenta.
I will say one thing.
Yeah.
Somebody gave, and I will. This political. And Tom Dearline will appreciate this. And I'm a Southerner, but several years ago, somebody gave me a Smathers and Branson, which is those embroidered belts of American flags. And I wear it 3 days a year, June 14th, July 14th, and April the 9th. And Saturday at this sort of thing, someone asked me, well, why, you don't look like a Republican. Why would you be wearing flags? And it just irritated the crap out of me. I said, when did the flag become the purview of the right or the left? And I told them my theory, and this person said, well, why April 9th? And I said, well, if you have to ask me, then you're ignorant. That's sad. I said, that is the day that Lee surrendered to Grant, and that's the day that kept this country one. And I just think that's important. The flag is not the purview of the right or left.
I wonder how that connects back to marketing, because, and I know you agree with me that our mission as citizens, as patriots, as marketers, is to be able to de-weaponize every damn little thing, and especially the things that are sacrosanct, that are so important, like, to your point, the flag. Even though what I did find out recently is that the actual national anthem was quite politicized in terms of its origin, in terms of being introduced at sporting events.
Yeah.
But I wonder, how do you think can marketing help to heal this great nation, this divided great nation?
I wish somebody, it is abysmal, it is abomination to me that the mask has become politicized. This is seat belts. This is life-saving. That all of a sudden you are a heathen left anarchist if you're wearing a mask, and you're right God-fearing if you're not. A mask not only protects you, it protects other people. And we've allowed that to become politicized, and I think that is horrible. I think what's happening in Washington is we've allowed everything. I wish some agency would take it upon themselves, or the ad council to issue, where's all the PSAs on wear a mask, save health? This is saving lives. This is definitely saving lives. And it's just sickening when I watch some videos on Twitter about some men and women start screaming at people about the mask. I mean, here in San Francisco, you can't get anywhere without it, and everybody feels good.
Same thing in Connecticut. But maybe that's, so first of all, I think your point is really well taken, and hits home, which is specifically, I mean, the fact that we have to use our ad council. We have to use our creativity. The fact that, I mean, you could be walking around with an arsenal, which would basically be a cannon in your mouth. And you know what? I don't care. It's 6:50, but I would have a cock in my mouth. I just had to say it. I'm sorry, John, but Spurs is a cockerel. That's what I meant. If anybody's still watching at this point, I don't care. Unsubscribe. Oh my God, that's a lot of unsubscribe. But why aren't we using? How do I come back from that? Why aren't we using creativity to accessorize, to use, New England Patriots, the New York Giants, it seems so easy. Why are we doing that?
I don't know. I mean, it's and now you see on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and emails and everybody's selling masks. That's fine. I don't care what they look like. You should just wear it. You're saving lives. And I don't like the word socially distant. I like physically distant. For some reason, it sounds better. But I see that people are very conscious about it. And then I watch, and I'm from Georgia, and I watch these people there, and I'm like, what planet do you live on? That you don't respect yourself. You don't respect yourself, and you don't respect people around. And yes, masks are the new socks.
Yeah, we got a slew of comments, and even Minsky is on as well. Jason says we lack the will, but I actually think it's funny how I didn't even think we would end up in this direction. But the key to the future and to healing actually does not, at least at the moment, does not lie within the left, the liberals, the Democrats. It lies within pragmatic. I don't even want to use the word centrist, but it lies within the Republican Party in terms of people standing up that are will call it like they see it and start wearing masks and leading. But really, what I'm saying is leadership. What we need is leadership, and that's why I was saying, like, how can marketing help? And I think ad council is one for sure. 2 is creativity in masks. If masks become the new socks, I don't have it on me, but maybe in the after show, what I'll do is I'll run and get one. We actually took my son's bar mitzvah logo and we got face masks made. So instead of different accessories that you would see at a celebration, whether it's a wedding, a christening, a bar mitzvah, we actually had his logo on our face masks. We need to see more of that.
And I, it's just that, but it's the whole idea that, when you got to feel responsibility. And I agree, Sean, promote that right message. It starts at the top, and, I'm not going to get into that side of it, but this is just one issue that it just galls me that this has become politicized, that health has become politicized. Parents are wrestling with education choices. The education system from kindergarten through college is in massive disruption. And we throw gasoline on the fire by all the changes that we're doing and trying to force people into schools. You've got kids, you want them to be safe. Teachers want to be there. I mean, this is a very exciting decade, and we've got to get it right. The next 12 months become very important. And I worry about education more than anything.
So, John, that's a perfect segue for us to end at least this part of the conversation. The importance of education, the idea of legacy. I spoke about what I spoke about to my son, about leaders, about Moses, about the idea of, you spoke about burning bridges. It's all a common theme. What I'd like to ask you is, what's your legacy? What's the legacy you would like to leave behind, specifically as it relates to being a proud card-carrying member of the marketing department? Because I share that with you. I would love to hear your thoughts on what does the future of marketing look like, and what impact or influence do you believe that you still can make, because we're all still learning and still teaching on this beautiful profession of ours?
Well, I hadn't thought about it that way. I just hope that if we interact, you get fired up. You get fired up about the business. It's not the sexiest of business at times, but I think it's fun. I don't know. I just think you just got to enjoy life. I think if there's anything, marketing allows us to appreciate what we do and enjoy. And I think you have a responsibility to give back to either education or a civic association or deliver meals or participate in food banks. You know, you have very few responsibilities as a citizen, and the only true responsibility is to vote. Your other responsibility as a human is to give far more than you take, and doesn't take a lot to give.
And that is a Durham. I still can't, you know, like I'm eating olives now, but it is wise words of wisdom from Professore John Durham, the CEO of Catalyst, a professor of note at USF. As I've said many times, can you imagine being this lucky and privileged to have this man as your professor? A friend of mine, I hope to earn the accolade to be a friend of his, an ardent gunner. And we're going to end up with a few new, Andrea. Andrea, we haven't seen each other. We met at Park City as well.
Oh, Andrea, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Hope the kids are doing well. Ben's doing well. Life is good. So,
and who else? Even Dean. I was going to say Dean Harris. It's David Harris.
Mr. Harris. Okay. There's a car. Truly one of the class car guys. Class act.
So we are going to move next door to the Zoom after show. If you want to know what the URL is, all you have to do is type in to your browser bit.ly/Corona TV after show, where you can toast and say happy birthday to John yourself and be part of the conversation. I mean, dare I say the phrase, John, join the conversation. Someone wrote a book on that. I don't know who it was.
It's a good one. It's a good one. All right. So do we go there now?
We're going to go next door. This was, you know, this was fun, John. I mean, last time we've had breakfast together. Every time I'm in San Francisco, I mean, when we all used to travel, I would love our breakfasts. What's the restaurant we always go to?
Bob's downtown, probably.
Everybody knows your name. This has been a real treat. Happy birthday to you from me.
Same here. I'm very honored to be on this, and thank all of you who joined in and sent regards. Andrea, what a real pleasant surprise. A lot of you. A lot of people. David?
We'll come next door, bit.ly/Corona TV after show. John, let's head over and continue the celebrations.
See you there.
Bye, everyone.